starten unser nächstes Panel und da geht es um Experiences für neue Superfans in dem Kosmos. Und der Marvin wird das Ganze moderieren und hosten und euch vorstellen, wer alles mit dem Panel dabei ist. Marvin, wo bist du? Marvin, du gehst einen interessanten Weg.
Das ist doch Neuland für mich. We got a very exciting panel today. I was a former soccer fan. I was a big fanatic of all the stars doing their best skills on the field, listening to music. And today we got a lineup with a background in digital collectibles, building the fantasy football of the blockchain, and consulting the biggest brands in the world around Web3 and culture. And so, a pleasure to be with you here, guys. Gonna talk about superstar fandom and how you can incentivize your community and fans to support your brand and collaborate with your favorite stars. So, quick intro, I'll let you guys do the honors. Alexander.
Thank you very much, Marvin. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex. Alex Schlicher. I'm the founder of Fancy. We founded a Web3 platform to connect fans and their idols. Started in football and now work with entertainers, federations, basically everybody who has a community and stars.
One more question. One NFT project you're enjoying right now, if you had to name one aside from your own.
Actually, I think there's a lot of projects that suck because most have, most are drowning in value. I think it's actually time to deliver. It's time to fulfill your promise and build a community and not just take a lot of dollars home. So I'm holding the stuff I have in my wallet. I'm observing very closely what people really do. There's a lot of bluff out there. So I'm not going to promote any project, but
It was worth a shot.
Yeah. Cheers.
Toan, quick intro and maybe an NFT project you like.
Hi everyone, my name is Toan. I'm the founder of a company called Jungformat Nerd, and what does nerd culture mean is we're a company fully dedicated for gaming, kawaii, anime, manga, science fiction, fantasies, and obviously something like called the metaverse or NFT. And one project that I personally like is, and actually I fully agree, like most projects out there are kind of shit. And it's a lot of, smoke and FOMO, and not even FOMO anymore. So it's just, actually it's just shit and smoke. But what I like is the Tiffany's CryptoPunk case, because it makes a very valid point. Everyone thinks the metaverse as some alternative reality that happens somewhere else, with like different means and values. But what's interesting is that you understand that the metaverse is something you can go in and go back, something that also embraces and unfolds meaning and powerful in your normal real life. And that's why I like the CryptoPunks Tiffany case. And that's just a few of another. I'm also a Clone X holder, so I'm trying myself to like this project too.
Are you a holder?
I'm a holder.
Well, good for you. I can only dream of that. Ante, quick intro, one NFT project you enjoy?
One NFT project I enjoy, and so there are a couple of them, to be honest, but I'm on the side of the guys that it's, let's say, a tough time for NFTs. Not doing utility and not being focused on utility will be a pretty hard time for NFTs right now. So what I enjoy now, there's a new project out there, especially from the football space, called Goals, which is the EA Sports FIFA, but on the blockchain, which is quite interesting, where you can develop your own players, adding attribute, and then you can trade the players you're creating, which is kind of a very nice concept. And then besides that, I would also say there is Soraya on the market doing a tremendous job for all of us, I would say, in blockchain and NFT business, because what they actually created is creating intrinsic value of NFTs, and it's no wonder that they are that successful as they are.
And can you give a little bit of context around the football company? What's that all about?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the co-founder of the football company, and what we are actually building is the metaverse of football fandom. Basically, that means that if you join our platform, you become an avatar, and you can buy different types of NFT merchandising items, and then you can equip your avatar. And what we build is an ecosystem around these avatars, around the items, where you can participate in several games, and you can use these NFTs to boost your in-game experience and in-game performance.
We call it the metaverse of football fandom on the website.
Exactly.
And another company who's feeding into football fandom is FIFA. They just announced their blockchain project where they're going to turn soccer moments into digital collectibles on the Algorand blockchain. And so, Ante, I'm curious, how do you perceive that project? Do you have any thoughts on FIFA going onto the NFT craze and using Algorand?
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, it's great that a huge brand like FIFA is also joining the metaverse or the Web3 space, so where we all will benefit from. In the same time, of course, the concept about moments will be very interesting and I think also very, very challenging, because the question here is if this is something which will work on the European market, especially, in the football space. To see if there is a product market fit. We know, everybody knows NBA Top Shots, which work quite well and they have been very, very successful, but it's on the US market. And the US market is more used to collections and just, collecting items. And this is why this succeeded. And let's see what will happen with FIFA and Algorand.
Toan, anything to add? You also know many different countries. You work with industry leaders from all different areas on the globe. Thoughts on FIFA and also maybe cultural differences between different parts of the world regarding NFTs and collectibles?
No, my first reaction was, what the fuck is Algorand? Didn't know that blockchain before.
It's a DeFi blockchain.
Oh, really? It's a green one, right? No, I don't really have an emotion about this one. It's. I can agree with the fact that it's interesting to see those big players, entering that space. But at the same time, I will be very curious, what the strategy is. A lot of brands fail to, define objectives and scopes despite making revenue. And I'm curious to see whether this project will appeal to Web3 natives or whether they try to turn Web2 people into this thing, despite the fact that most of them might not care. So let's see.
Anything to add to the FIFA news?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to distinguish between classical NFT projects that have that are very graphical or very artsy and have an enormous value and are tradable and you can make a lot of profit. And I think where FIFA is different, FIFA is a classical old world brand, fascinating 4 billion people. Football is one of the things that 4 billion people watch. World Cup is one of the most consumed brands and events. It's very entertaining, and I think I don't know Algorand actually, but I think FIFA is doing us as entrepreneurs a great favor to introduce a solution that is going to address all of you. I guess most of you have little idea about how to create a wallet, how to connect, and all the infrastructure around a blockchain, and they make it accessible. I hope it's going to work. It's not going to be a trading hype project. It's going to be a very Panini-like, low-profile solution, but for 4 billion people. So I think this is where I'm very happy to see that they're taking the step. Of course, they want to make money, but 4 billion times 20 cents is much more than 10,000 times, 1,000 euro. So I'm really, really happy to see that happening.
Quick question to the audience, because you just mentioned most of you probably have a wallet. Raise your hand if you actually have a wallet. MetaMask, Solana wallet. Okay,
Nerd.
We got some Web2 dinosaurs here too, but most of you all have a wallet.
Tough one to ask.
Yeah. Okay, back to the conversation. We talked about FIFA and adopting Web2 natives and bring them into the Web3 world. One thing I loved to collect when I was younger was the Panini collectibles, right? You have the Soccer World Cup or European Cup, and you want to collect all your favorite stars, fill out your heft, what is even your magazine, your Panini magazine. And so now we're bringing collectibles into the digital world. And I feel like that's what you focus on primarily, right, Alexander? So could you maybe guide us through the transition of Web2 collectibles into Web3 collectibles?
Yeah, I think it is just the evolution of our society. We're getting more technical. So, before I went to a kiosk and buy some hard copy stickers and put them in an album. And look at everyone. Most people are on the phone. They sit in the tube, they're on the phone. We consume information on the phone. So I think it's quite natural to consume your fandom also on the phone. What Ante is doing, what a lot of other people are doing is transforming analog experiences into the digital space. And Web3 for me is just the fact that you make the digital stuff authentic, that you can really be sure it's not fake, that you can really be sure that you have the real deal as a fan. Because I always bought my Panini stuff in official Panini packs. And I guess that's what we want when we talk Web3, that is authenticated. And of course, I can sell it. But again, for the mass market, it's not about trading. For the mass market, it's just going to be having an experience digitally. And I think that's what it is about.
Toan, did you collect any paninis, or do you have other examples of Web 2 fan engagement and what that could look like in Web 3?
Oh yes, I was one of those super nerds collecting Panini's Magic cards, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Warhammer, like League of figurines. So I pretty know this thing too, and I still collect a lot of crazy stuff right now. The thing is, the question is a bit difficult, like turning Web 2 to Web 3. I mean, the fun thing is most people don't realize it here, but buying digital items in a digital environment for digital, let's say, characters is not a really new thing, right? It has been in gaming for 1 trillion years already. It's just called digital skins. If you look at Fortnite, if you look at even back in the days, World of Warcraft, that has been there all the time. I think what's really new is the spirit, and that's why, I'm more curious about not the technology per se, but about the cultural movements that come with Web3. I think the idea of having a new form of economical ownership and share this is something that seems to unfold lots of motivation and power in this space. And it's kind of funny to look at, if you look at this space, I always describe Web3 as something highly controversial with opposing forces, but that's maybe why the magic comes in, because you all own wallets for sure, so you probably noticed, but the Web3 thing is something really paradox. It's like Robin Hood, because it's fuck the GAFAs, fuck Facebook, fuck Mark Zuckerberg, right? So it's really about autonomy, liberalization. And at the same time, it's a bit like Wolf of Wall Street. Everyone wants to get filthy rich. And don't tell me it's not true, right? Collecting NFTs, collecting skin, being in a mint always has a little bit of, maybe I can become a little bit more and faster rich than others. And those opposing energies is something that I feel is new, because you're trying to do something good. You try to be at the forefront of the forefront, and you're trying to become rich as well. And that is a very, very interesting combination from a cultural perspective. And I always try to say, we need to look at the people, the mindsets, not just at, the new technologies.
Yeah, so you're almost incentivizing your users by giving them upside monetarily oftentimes, which can maybe lead to the wrong outcome or the wrong mindset, the wrong culture even. Ante, you're building a tool to engage fans and bring them into the football world. How do you see the incentivization model in that regard, and how do you create the right culture when building such a project from the ground up?
Yeah, so I think the main question, what has to happen right in the beginning of any project is, why do the NFT has a reason to exist? And if you don't have a clear answer to that, besides for the sake of innovation, it will be pretty tough to build something. So the most important thing you have to do is creating intrinsic value of the NFTs. And the question is, how is it bonded into a coherent and strong ecosystem? And this is what it's all about. So now, asking about the incentivization of the community, there are so many possibilities to do that, but the incentivization, the earning part, is a crucial thing. The question is it something emotional? Is it something rational you're offering to the people? So what we are basically doing as incentivization of our customers is to bridge the physical and the digital world, for example. So you're playing these different games, challenges, and so on and so forth, and then you can win a form of a VIP ticket for your favorite club, for example. You can win original signed jerseys from players, and that keeps the motivation. But there are also very classic, let's say, game mechanics you can also use in a sense of gaining experience points, gaining more coins, you're reaching a certain level, and then in that you can let's say, access special challenges which wouldn't be possible before. And this is, or what you also can do is, of course, you need to have a collection of different items to actually enter a certain challenge. So there are a lot of mechanisms you can use. So saying emotional is, let's say something which is all about honor, to show off my collection, to show off my scoring, to show off that I won something, that I was smart enough. This is the emotional part, and then there is the rational part. It's all about real physical incentivization, cryptocurrency, VIP tickets, and physical items.
Do you even need the blockchain for that? We see many brands putting NFTs into their headlines as almost like a marketing vehicle. Alexander, where does the blockchain come into play? Why NFTs?
I personally hate the word NFT because NFT is the biggest bullshit word in 2021 and more so in 2022 because it could mean so many things. It could mean fractionized ownership. It could mean a collectible with commercial right. It could mean a collectible without commercial right. And I think it is very confusing because it's a technical term, and blockchain is an infrastructure like, an iPhone uses cool technology to make it easy to use. So I think the question is whether you need technology to make things digitally authentic. And I think there is a social trend to give power to the people, to be, to basically get away from central institutions that control people and control things and manipulate societies. And this is why blockchain has a very, very fantastic narrative. It allows you, everybody can look it up, everybody can see it's authentic, everybody can see, okay, it's real. So I think we need blockchain for Web3. There's other technologies that are more error-prone and less appeal to modern society or to societal trends, in my view. But I would not use the word NFT. It is very confusing. And actually, I wanted to add to what you said earlier. I think what we observe in our space, digital collectibles, fans, it's very difficult to address large markets because you see classical big brands, they have 100 million followers, and you have a product where you think, oh, it's so easy to sell stuff. I mean, look at Manchester City, and they're selling 1 million jerseys every year. They're trying to sell 10,000, or Man United, it wasn't City, it was United actually. They're trying to sell 10,000 fantastically crafted art pieces, and they stumble. And they cannot reach more than 5,000 people, and the value is actually dropping. And you wonder, why is that so? And you ask, what do you need to do to be successful? And I think you have to continuously invest in storytelling. Why is it useful? Why is it appealing to you? Rather than just expecting it works on itself just because it's called NFT. So I think that it's a really long-term journey that has to get away from all those technical terms. It's all about being honest and having a long tail and not just going for the quick and easy money, because then it's a Ponzi scheme. At the end of the day, there's not more money. It's just, someone else will have it. And I think we have to be careful not to burn reputation.
The funniest part, all the projects are talking about NFTs, but we're just completely forgetting that there are people, 99% of the whole world. I think the current worldwide adoption of NFTs or blockchain is at around about 8% currently, which is extremely low. Why do we use the term NFT? So if I would ask you, do you have a HTTPS? It sounds fully weird. So it's a website, right? So we're talking here about real products. NFT is just a term for a technology which is used, but it's not the object you're actually selling in itself.
I mean, we're seeing Starbucks also. They're not using the word NFT, right? They're using different wording, and it's more about the benefits that the users gets rather than, just using a buzzword that has been in the headlines for a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, in the end, it's all about digital authenticity, of course. But, there are so many tools you can build with smart contracts burning. So where they just disappear, you have digital scarcity throughout NFTs where you can exactly say, okay, this is the supply. This supply is only for this year. You can write this contract. You can have collective ownerships. So people can put their money together and buying one thing, and it's on the smart contract and it's on the chain, and you can't manipulate it. So there are so many good things you can do with that, but we don't have to talk about NFTs.
I just want to know as a user what's in it for me, right? Now, Toan, you've been working with Jung von Matt for a long time. You've worked with big brands. You've seen the transition from Web 2 to Web 3. I don't know if you've seen the Web 1 transition, but how do you see the evolution right now with, to add a comment before, right?
It's really funny because like last year in November, I told all my brands, hey, you know, we need to look into the space, Web3, Metaverse, NFT. It's kind of interesting, you know, something's going to happen. Nobody cared. Nobody. You know, everyone, you know, just go away. We want to do gaming, stuff like that. And then there was Christmas vacation. Eminem bought an ape. Justin Bieber bought an ape. You know, Madonna bought an ape. I came back on 3rd on January and everyone was going crazy. Everyone was going nuts. And everyone wanted to enter the metaverse, like immediately. Hey, can you build something here, build something there, you know, and let's be interoperable. It's crazy. It's fun. And what I realized was that most brands wanted to NFT or Web3 or the meta for the sake of doing it, which is okay. I don't blame them because like testing stuff out, you know, and being curious is one of the most important things as a brand, you know, to stay relevant. But at one point, you need to define very simple goals. Why do you want to enter the space? Why do you want to do it? And that's the big problem because Ante just told you about all the possibilities you could do. But if you don't have a goal, if you don't have objectives, you know, why are you doing this? For what reasons? It's going to be very difficult, you know, to define a transition process. We always try to set goals in the beginning, like very simple, you know, do you want to build up your reputation, revenue, reach, you know, or build relationships? Very simple R's, you know, they could use, but that will steer you towards the way, what you could do. If you want to do reputation, for instance, you know, you don't need to do the hassle of turning Web 2 people into Web 3 people. You can build up reputation by being a very good product. And what I often see with brands is that they see the metaverse and the NFT and they're trying to, okay, it's a new revenue model and this is so funny. And then we're gonna funnel Web 2 fans into Web 3 fans. And I'm like, why? Yeah, because it's a new thing, but those people are very happy with Instagram. Why don't you just let them do Instagram? Yeah, but that's a new thing. And I was like, okay, and how do you budget it? We funnel those people from A to B and take budget from A to P to do this. And I'm like, what is the point of this, right? Some people are very happy with Instagram and TikTok. They don't need that. But there seems to be a community of Web3 people, degens, you know, that are very passionate about that. Why don't you serve them immediately? Why do you need to do the bridge, right? Maybe there are just a few, only 8%. But 8% can do a lot of things if they really love your brand and if they really invest in it, if they do the revenue. And one example that I always try to quote is, like, do you know vegan sausage in Germany? Like Rügenwalder, right? Like 6 years ago, they did a vegan sausage salami. And their mission was to do the best vegan salami for vegetarians and vegan people, right? They didn't try to turn meat eater into vegan, and they did the best sausage. And then the zeitgeist changed. And if I'm now going to, you know, if I eat with my friends and I eat like a real sausage, they look at me like I'm the worst person in the world, you know? So they started with like the core community. And that's why I think that's important, you know? Go there where the people really love and understand what's happening. Don't try to turn 45 years old, sorry, Alex, you know, into this, I'm just kidding, I love you, into the space. And I think setting up goals, objectives, you know, and you really understanding who do you want to serve, it's elemental, critical.
Got it. So assuming I acknowledge the possibilities of the blockchain and I want to leverage blockchain, maybe an NFT drop also to build a community of superfans, how do I start? What makes a successful launch, Alexander?
First of all, thank you. I think you gave me a year, which is really nice. But I think I alluded to this earlier. I think you have to invest in community, and even big brands struggle to do that. Let alone startups who have no community and start from zero. So I think what we do is actually very adventurous because you don't have the product, you don't have the technology, you have a lot of uncertainty. Regulators are telling you, there's actually we should talk about regulation as well, because the financial regulation in Germany, BaFin, is looking at crypto and NFT and blockchain very closely and could actually harm a lot of what is happening, because they say this is a technology that is maybe a financial asset, so we want to control it. So this is an exclamation mark, because no one looks at this. But I think it is, for startups, very much storytelling and maybe inventing something new and being entertaining and engaging. But for large brands, I think it's a long tail game. It is like when companies invested into internet and actually having websites, transforming existing customers, bringing them into an online shop, which took a lot of time and a lot of money. And my prediction is for classical Web3 brands, when you said budget, it's going to take way more money because you have to go for all your clients. And if a conversion rate is usually, or conversion cost of a client is usually $20, $30, and you have 20 million customers, I think there's a substantial part of money that has to be invested in converting them. And we see this with projects we do. I mean, we work with AC Milan, one of the biggest brands globally. And I mean, the expectation is super huge. And they expect, because they do 1 or 2 posts on their website, suddenly all the fans jump on it and go, yeah, it's fantastic, we're going to buy it. But the hype is over. Now is builders' time. It's not a hype time. A lot of money is actually going, I mean, a lot of, I would say, dumb money, stupid money is actually going away. So you have to invest long term. Otherwise, it's not going to work out and be successful. And for a startup, it means that we could fail. I mean, everything is a matter of timing. If there's not enough capital in the market and we don't have enough, runway, even if you have the right approach, you could fail. So I think it's a complex thing and it's not an easy one.
So leveraging Web2 platforms with new technology to get them onto the Web3 case. Ante, you're also working with very big brands. I saw a post on LinkedIn recently, great platform by the way, where you announced the Borussia Dortmund partnership. And it's not the only football club you work with. And so why do these companies decide to work with you? What's their expectation? What are they hoping to get from working with football company?
Yeah, so now in our portfolio we have more than 20 individual partnerships with clubs worldwide. Also Borussia Dortmund, Eintracht Frankfurt, now also some Italian teams I unfortunately can announce, then also some from Spain, some from Spain and Portugal. We're working together. So what their expectations are pretty simple. So first of all, what Toan told, there is always, you have to go into the NFT space if you want to move forward with your digital and innovation part of the company or of the club itself, right? So it's just about to explore, of course, new things. And I think we give them a very good platform, to actually bridging from Web 2 to Web 3 and how we actually create fan engagement for the clubs itself. So let's say the main value proposition for these clubs wasn't about revenue and about the money we are paying or the money we're generating actually for the clubs. It's more about fan engagement and how to reach to a Gen Z generation. So in the end, and what happens is if you're buying, so the whole concept is all about virtual NFT merchandising. So I can buy an original Borussia Dortmund jersey, but as a virtual object. And I can put it on my avatar and I can express, so it's all about identity, and I can express it in front of an audience that I'm a Borussia Dortmund fan, right? And this is what it's all about identity, community. This is what football is all about, of course, and it works quite well. And this is also the reason why now a lot of clubs are reaching out to us to create partnerships.
So you just refer to the reputational aspect or almost the prestige of owning a verified jersey from Borussia Dortmund on your platform. Then there's also the gamification side of things, right? What role does that play within that experience for fans? Because I feel like, some super fans might be cool with having that digital jersey. Yes, it's blockchain verified, but okay, where does that go from here? Can I just flex that on my app and show it to people in person? And so how do you see that?
Yeah, you can also do that. So I think the interesting part is what we created. So why do you buy a football jersey? To become a better player or to represent your club? So you will never buy a jersey to become a better football player. Now, but what we are doing now is we're creating or using the power of technology and the power of blockchain to actually create around that object superpowers. So rational value directly implemented into one object. So let's assume that you're owning a Lionel Messi jersey, for example, and you own the unique one, right? So what it's about that it's unique. Okay, I'm the only one owning it, but that's not enough. With the unique, you will get inside of the games we're offering, you get more points, right? It's not a pay-to-win system. It's very well balanced to be fair to anybody. But this is actually what you get out of it, right? Then, if you own the unique jersey, then you will also get the original one with the signing of Lionel Messi, and so on and so forth.
Also bringing in physical goods as the upside of owning the digital good.
Yeah. So what we are working together with a company called Collect ID. Maybe you will know them. They're creating NFC chips on NFT base, which is kind of interesting. So now we build up the technology. So let's assume this jacket has an NFC chip. What I can do now is take my phone, scan the chip, and I have it immediately on my avatar, which is quite nice.
Love that. Alexander, you're doing something similar also with working with big clubs. What's in it for the holders of those collectibles aside from the status game? So he mentioned the point system. I also heard on a dinner before that you're also implementing use cases where you can enter a VIP lounge if you own certain collectibles. What upside, what value prop is within the collectibles you're managing on your platform?
Yeah, our approach is a little bit different. We take real objects that create history in sport, and we're cloning them. So, I mean, there's a lot of collectibles, and I don't want to play any other, collectible down. But we think that real objects that are used in the performance of sport, like, for example, Mario Götze, he made us world champion in 2014. And what makes us world champion is actually the boot that scores the goal. And if you look at the boot, you see it has a lot of scratches and a soil, maybe blood, sweat, tear, whatever. But it's a very emotional item. And that goes for almost anything that performers do. It could also be a musician. But those items create history. And we clone them using very innovative scanning technology. So what we do is actually very analog. We start in the analog world, and we use the narrative of the item. And cloning it creates a very beautiful art piece that tells a story, and that could be unique or could be multiplied 1 million times. But as it's about fandom, I guess going back to 2014, we become world champion. Maybe 1 million kids would have loved to have Mario Götze's boot in their bedroom and see it in 3D, turning around and being able to relive the moment. So this is a very unique product. And but if you think about it, because this is for us just a start, we're starting working with game publishers, because a 3D object is actually naturally to be used in a 3D space, being a game or a metaverse. But once your character wears that object, you can replay that goal. So we want to create digital moves or digital motions that replicate what happened in the real world. And this is our approach to connect the real world and the digital world, to make real experiences, digital relivable, which we think is very entertaining. And we also do 3D printing. So some items, rather scarce items, you can get back to your living room by ordering a 3D print that is actually going to look like the real one. But as an example, we're working with Messi or with the Argentinian national team, and we're featuring them in Qatar. It's Messi's last World Cup. He's one of the most renowned players. So we're taking his last jersey. Maybe they become even world champion. And being able to get a signed jersey from Messi and sharing it 1 million times is something that will appeal to a lot of Argentinians and allowing us to create maybe a better fandom.
And in the future, if we look at all the chains, all the different games, all the different experiences, will there be a world where I can use that jersey from Messi and then wear it in Fortnite on the blockchain and use it in other games?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I think once things are digitally interoperable, because it has to be graphically interoperable, it has to be chain-wise interoperable, but it shouldn't matter for the consumer. You wear it in Fortnite, and maybe there was a specific move, and maybe your Fortnite avatar suddenly can do that move. I mean, talk about rugby. We work with rugby as well, and maybe there is an iconic tackle, and then in Fortnite you can, kill someone by tackling him just because you wear the jersey, which for, of course, the fan would be super engaging. I mean, I don't play Fortnite, but it is all about activating younger generations also outside the classical space. So for football fans, using it outside of a football game. And this is what is going to be a game changer, of course.
Cool. Last question for you, Toan. We all know the superfans who wait backstage to meet their hero who just had their concert, or the superfans running onto the field and taking off their shirts, trying to get one moment with their favorite football player. What's a superfan in the digital world? What do they do? What's their life like? What does that look like, that persona of the superfan?
I think one important thing about when we think about superfans is that, they are very emotionally invested into, right? And what you have to do, and I always, try to have the perspective of the brands, you have to appreciate that. And everyone wants to be loved brand nowadays, right? And the thing is, like, if you want to be loved, you have to understand you have to give love first. And the superfan is someone who, receives the love, but you as a brand needs to make sure that you give them a lot. And I think that relationship, that will be the future. Give love, receive love, all the way down.
Here's to giving and receiving love. Thank you guys for your time. And to everyone who wants to learn more from Toan, he will be on the Web3 pizza stage, answering some questions, doing a little AMA. So thank you guys.
Thank you very much.